never reach the places in Christ that I was called to go to.
Wow, that's a blessing. That's a blessing.
Yeah, man.
One other thing. A lot of the young people in church, because this is all about young people, that's what we're about at jail, all about young people. We feel, a lot of us feel let down by the church, or we feel that we're not understood by the church. Obviously you're in a ministry where God has packaged himself within you in a way that's relevant to young people.
Right.
And a lot of the time the church don't get that. They don't get this new move of God. They don't understand this generation. Is there anything that you'd like to say to the church on behalf of us as young people to help them to understand just what God's doing with us?
Yeah. You know what, man? First, I think it would only be fair to give credit where credit is due. Paul talks about in the book of Hebrews, a cloud of many witnesses gathered around that encourages us in the faith. So how can we then fall away? Man, from those who have passed on and gone on to glory to those who are here now, older and living it, man, first I think cats should say thank you. You know, I wasn't here. You were here carrying a torch that ended up in my hands. And so on one hand, I have to be respectful and I have to be grateful, and I have to say, wow, look what you were able to accomplish for the Lord. Then I would pause and I would take a moment to try to admonish them in a godly way that what I am doing bears fruit, that what I am doing is not in any way an attack on the way you did it, calling it old school or irrelevant. I'm not doing that at all. But what I am doing is going to a particular group of people, a particular people group, and bringing them the same message, however, in a way that is relevant to them, becoming all things to some that I'm becoming all things to all men that I might gain some. And I'm also doing what I think God has called us to do in a way to where we would reach every people group, fulfilling the Great Commission. And so I think from a young person's standpoint, man, give it up for cats who are older, who are holding it down in the faith. There was this woman in my neighborhood, mean lady, just mean for no reason, just seemed like she hated life, hated everything. But I wasn't there when she was 20 and she had got raped. I wasn't there when she was 30 and her husband left her. I wasn't there when her kids died before she did and she had to bury her kids. Like, I don't know her life like that. I didn't know all that. I just thought she was a mean old black lady that didn't like nobody. And it wasn't until I got older that I learned her life, and I realized you got some things that you got to overcome. Maybe that's why you're so bitter. And we ended up becoming friends. You know, it wasn't until I got older that I started hearing her life and getting wisdom from her. And she started to appreciate me because she saw me, and she just saw me as a little hoodlum that wanted to come around and mess up her yard, or, you know, cause trouble in front of her house, or make the neighborhood look bad, or whatever. And it wasn't until we both sat down and had a great conversation about the hearts of each other that we could be friends, and then a relationship could be sparked. And so I never want to put at odds older versus younger, like you don't know what you're doing and I do. You know, I want to be able to take the wisdom of the older, also give credit where credit is due to the older, and say, man, I appreciate everything that you guys did and were able to accomplish. Not only that, we brothers and sisters in the faith. Like, you gonna serve the same God in heaven that I'll be serving. So it's not like we're enemies by any means. Nevertheless, let me not keep you in the dark to what it is God has allowed us to do as young people, to be able to bring the same gospel message in an effective way in the life of a person who otherwise would not know him. And so when I go to particular tribes in South America, I have to have on a particular outfit, or otherwise they don't listen. I can't have facial hair, or they won't listen. My hair has to be a certain way, or they won't listen. That's not me saying, oh man, you know, you're ruining the message. That's me being relevant in a way to them to where they hear it. I have to understand the culture and respect that without tainting or compromising the gospel. And so for me, there are little battles that I just won't go fight for. I won't put my flag on every hill, like, so you don't want me to do this and do that. I'll concede to a certain extent, as long as I don't taint or compromise the gospel. So yeah, I just think that, you know, if we would pause and take a moment to get to know one another and also show gratitude and appreciation, the relationship would look a lot different.
Wow.